Welcome to the Cornell and Ferris High School Sports Show. Jeff DiVeronica and Steve Bradley. And we're going to do something a little different here. Steve, we're in between seasons, right? Spring hasn't really sprung here in the Rochester area. So we are going to bring on arguably the greatest wrestler in Section 5 history. He's making a name for himself as maybe one of the greatest wrestlers in NCAA history. And really, Steve, we know him. You can go by one name.
Yeah, Yanni. And that's when you know you made it, Jeff, when one word says it all.
Madonna.
Yanni, Babe
Gaga.
Ruth,
Jordan.
Kareem, Kobe.
And Yianni Diakomihalis. We're going to mix in the last name. Let's bring him on via our specialties hotline. Former Hilton star and now a 3-time NCAA champion for the Cornell Big Red. 149-pound champion. He's also, for the second time in his career, a finalist for the Dan Hodge Trophy, which is like the Heisman Trophy of college wrestling. 28-0 this season. 94-1 in his college career after going 243-3 as a high schooler, and he's on a 75-match win streak. We're going to talk a lot more about that, but let's welcome on the 3-time Ivy League Wrestler of the Year and NCAA champion, Yianni Diakomihalis. Welcome back to the Cornell and Ferris High School Sports Show. I'm pretty sure we had you on at least once when you were a high school athlete. You're about a week removed as we record this from winning NCAAs. How happy are you? How relieved are you? And how driven are you to win 4?
Yeah, thank you guys for having me on. Winning this year, it was nice. It was there's a lot of ups and downs between, when I wrestled in the NCAA tournament my sophomore year and now. So, it was nice. Our team performed really well. I wrestled well in the finals. So, I'm happy. And, putting that behind me, looking ahead to what's next. Got some freestyle goals ahead of me, and then looking ahead to the college season. Got my last year coming up, and hoping to finish that well.
Yanni, you've been wrestling since a very young age, and it's a sport that takes a lot out of you both mentally and physically. How do you stay driven with all the success you've had? And you're a week away, and you're coming out of a lift at 10 o'clock on a Saturday morning, so it never stops for you. And where does that drive come from?
Everyone's a little different, right? But for me, I feel like it's all about, looking ahead to the next thing. You have to have, it's bittersweet, right? Because you don't enjoy maybe the wins as much as you should. But for me, it's like I want to get as much out of myself as I can. So when I win, right, you're happy that day, enjoy that day, and then it's over. Move past it, look ahead to what's next, and just keep growing. So now, the NCAA tournament, my finals match was Saturday night, and on Sunday you're counting the days to the World Team Trials, right? Because you don't want to be one of those guys who lives off what you've done. You want to be one of those guys who lives off what I'm going to do and keeps looking at the next thing, keep trying to improve.
And I can tell you from talking to this young man, I think you were a sophomore when you won. When I went out and did an interview and a video story off of you winning sectionals. You've been talking this way and had this mindset since you were a young guy, and it's pretty amazing. Who instilled this in you, this drive and this work ethic? Where does that come? Is it just part of your DNA? Where does that come from?
Yeah, it definitely started with my dad. Coaches here at Cornell, they helped build on that, but it started with my dad for sure. He was my coach my whole life, from when I was 5 years old until I left for school. And he was really big. Kind of his thing was always like, you want to be a little bit dissatisfied with yourself all the time. And that might not sound great, but it was always like, you'll never want to be comfortable with what you have. That doesn't mean you're unappreciative, but it's like you're looking at the next thing. What could I have done better? You don't ever want to accept that you've made it, even if you have. I'm not saying that I have, but for the people who have, I feel like you don't want to accept that. You don't want it to be like, I'm there. I did everything I need to do. That's not what you want. So for me, it was always about looking ahead to the next thing. And even if I wrestled great, you can't wrestle perfect. I've never wrestled a perfect match. So it was always like, no matter what I did, there was something that could have been better. My diet, my weight cut, the match itself, technique, conditioning, all that stuff. So from a really young age, my dad was really big on whatever you do, that's great, be happy. What could you have done better? And that was always the lesson with us. It was very performance-oriented, not very results-oriented when I was a kid.
So, Yanni, when you won on Saturday, social media was very active. I know there's a lot of pride in the Hilton community where you grew up. What does it mean to have that hometown support and everything that you grew up within Hilton and learned in that wrestling room?
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome. When you leave, go away to college, you don't really know who's going to be keeping up with you. Not that, and I don't really expect them to. I mean, they have a lot going on in their day-to-day lives, right? So I'm super appreciative of everyone. They're tweeting at me, texting me, calling me, wishing me good luck, telling me congrats afterwards. So, the community, they really rally behind me, honestly, a lot more than I would have expected. I have people who I haven't seen in 5-6 years who are watching me wrestle at the NCAA tournament every year. And, I'm really appreciative of that. And just, you can tell that they take a lot of pride in people who are the Hilton alumni, the Hilton community. They take a lot of pride in their people. So I'm really thankful to have been a part of that.
And as we had to break, I want to at least share this too. I remember coming out of that interview when he was a sophomore, and I said, like, how do you want to be remembered? I'm asking a sophomore or junior at the time, wherever it was. How do you want to be remembered someday when they talk about Yanni as a Hilton wrestler? He's like, that I was a good guy, that I didn't treat anybody differently because I was a wrestling champion. I was a good guy. And I was like, this kid's got it. He just knows it. So we'll take a quick break, come back, talk more on our specialties hotline with one of the greats of Section 5 wrestling and NCAA wrestling, Yianni Diakomihalis from Hilton right here, and Cornell right here on the Connors and Ferris High School Sports Show.
There's a path to success full of challenges, rewards, inspiration, and strength. A strength that only the U.S. Army Reserve can give you. The skills and experiences you'll get will give you an advantage in your civilian life. Stay close to home, train to develop your strengths, and get on a path to success. Find out more at goarmy.com/reserve.
For more information, contact Syracuse Army Recruiting Center, 315-449-2830. There's strong. Then there's Army Strong, paid for by the U.S. Army.
Baby, sweet baby, oh baby,
Whether you come here as a 6th grader or a 9th grader, you have to spend your 4, 5, 6 years here and just get involved in so many different things. And then you're going to go out and set fire on the earth. When you get through McQuaid Jesuit, you're not going to fail when you get out in the world.
Tell you about my friends at Bath Fitter. 30 years across the country they've been doing this stuff. 20 plus years in Rochester. You don't have that kind of longevity without treating your customers right, doing great quality work. Please check them out online, bathfitter.com. Call the local office at 617-0007. It's Bath Fitter Rochester. Don't be a DIY diva and try to do it yourself. Don't screw it up. Let the pros do it. Remodel with confidence. Remodel with Bath Fitter. And please tell them you heard about it right here from Jeff DiVeronica on the Connors and Ferris High School Sports Show. We're brought to you by Salvador's Pizza.
There are plenty of professional sports teams in Rochester, but there's also a lot of great high school sports action in each town in our area. When's the last time you checked out a high school game? Section 5 sports are about more than just wins and losses. They're about teaching teamwork, dedication, and discipline. So support the kids who play for your school. Get out and watch a high school game today. For more information, including schedules, rosters, and stats, visit section5.org. That's sectionv.org. Brought to you by the Monroe County League and Section 5.
in doing the work you do. If you're hurt, we'll help you through.
Don't be fooled. Video hearings are as critical as appearing in person.
Make sure your rights are protected.
Your employer has trained specialists on their side.
And the judges work for New York State.
The only person on your side
is the attorney at your side.
Connors and Ferris, your workers' comp attorneys.
Local McDonald's operators care about our local schools, teams, and student athletes. That's why they support the return of high school athletics in the Rochester area and around the state. See you before or after the big game at McDonald's. Welcome back, Section 5. Game on!
Welcome back to the Connors and Ferris High School Sports Show. I'm Jeff DiVeronica with Steve Bradley, and this is it could be our U.S. Army segment. Steve, we tell folks a little bit about the Army before we welcome our guest. Army can be part of your future if you're a young person. Check out those numbers on the screen. The Army can help pay for your college education. There are more than 150 different careers in the Army. Think about that. You want to be an athletic trainer? You can be one in the Army. You want to be a communications person? You can be one in the Army. So give them a call. Check out one of your local offices and meet with a recruiter. No pressure consultation, and they can tell you more about it. So thanks to them for sponsoring our program. Let's welcome back a warrior on the mat. He's from Hilton, Cornell University. He's now a 3-time NCAA state champion. Has a chance, Steve, to become only the 4th person ever to win 4.
Maybe 5th. I think there's 4 others.
I beg your pardon. There's 4 already. But his name is Yianni Diakomihalis, and that's a mouthful, and he's done stuff that's tough to... It's so much you've done in your career, Yanni. But I want to ask you about from high school to college. And we talked earlier in our earlier segment about moving forward and keeping your eyes moving forward ahead. Did you have any doubts about the type of success you could have in college? Did you have any fears? And what did a 19-match win streak do to calm any of those, if you had them, to start your college career?
Yeah, I mean, to say I had doubts would be a lie. But I really believe that you have to be blindly confident in yourself. So, like the phrase that comes to mind is you train like you're the worst guy, but when you're competing, you act like you're the best guy. So when I was in practice, it was like I had to catch up to everybody. Even if I was better, it was like, what can I do to catch up, do better, get better, right? There was like this burning desire, like there was someone better than me that I had to catch up to. And then when I would wrestle, it was like, these guys can't beat me. There's no way they could beat me. And even if they could, I just wouldn't let myself even think that they could. And I think that, everyone's approach to a match is a little different. But for me, I try to clear my head as much as possible and just feed off that confidence, So I guess, to put it shortly, I always trained like I was the worst guy. Like there was someone who I had to make up 100 points to catch up to him. But when I was wrestling, it was like in my head, that guy had no hope of beating me.
Yanni, Jeff mentioned a list of 4-time NCAA champions. One man on that list is Kyle Dake. He's a coach at Cornell with you. What is your relationship with Kyle like, and how much has he helped you with the mental and physical aspects of wrestling?
Yeah, I mean, he's awesome. He's been a mentor to me the entire time I've been here, kind of guiding me along. He's that guy who I was just talking about. You need someone that you got to be chasing, trying to catch up to. He's been that guy. It's like he does something. I feel like I'm starting to get closer. He does something better, right? So because of that, I'm always chasing, always improving because, he's bigger too. So it's like I could be a world champion, Olympic champion, but he's right at that level. He might still be beating me, right? He's a weight class above me, 20 pounds heavier or whatever. So just even take aside all that he's taught me, he's been great with my skill development, great with helping me with my training, my diet, lifestyle and stuff. He's very knowledgeable, very studied in the sport, and very studious, outside too with his diet and all that kind of stuff. So on top of all the stuff that he's taught me, just being a guy that I'm constantly trying to chase, constantly trying to catch up to, that's invaluable. There's the level that I'm trying to accomplish. There's not a lot of guys, in the country who are at that level. And he's one of those guys who's at that level, and having someone like that in the room every single day as a standard is great for me.
You mentioned the highs and lows, and one of the disappointments you experienced was not being able to compete in the Olympics last summer. But Kyle was there, and your role with him. How much did you learn by observing him, and how much did that fuel your fire to make it next time around?
Yeah, I mean, he actually brought me as his training partner. So I was in Tokyo for the 3 weeks leading up to the games, and while they were competing, I was there with all those guys. I got to see how they prepare, see how they live, they eat, all that stuff, right? So it was very educational for me. I got to see what the other best guys in the world do other than just Kyle, right? I mean, we had a really good team. 2 gold medalists, 2 bronze, and a silver. So we had a really, really good men's freestyle team, and I got to see what those guys do in their day-to-day life, what their approach is like, how they train, how they eat, how they sleep, everything. So
we're talking with Yianni Diakomihalis from Cornell in Hilton High School, and a 3-time NCAA champ, the reigning 149-pound champion this season, 94-1 in college. And Yanni, are you talking to us from your dorm room? Where apartment? Where are you talking to us from? Ithaca, right?
Yeah, so I'm in Ithaca. I'm actually at the Freeman Wrestling Center is our wrestling room. We have a lounge, at one part. So we have the wrestling room, we have a back weight room, we have another wrestling room in the back, we have a lounge, and then I'm in like the study room. So it's supposed to be quiet, but I'm doing my interview back here. So.
And I want to ask you about your major, and unfortunately in our country you can't go on to be in the wrestling professional leagues and make millions of dollars like you would be if you were in the NBA or Major League Baseball. But you're enrolled in the College of Agricultural and Life Sciences. What does Yanni want to be doing 20 years from now? You want to stay connected to the sport? What do you want to be doing? Have you thought that far ahead? Because you look forward, right?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'd like to get into Division I coaching. Coaching at Cornell would be awesome. I mean, my major is kind of helping me take classes that are going to develop those skills, help me work with people. So that's good. But my main focus right now is focusing on wrestling, focusing on getting better, and then next year, when I graduate, get into the senior level competition, start looking towards the Olympic Games, and whenever that time comes, maybe start transitioning into coaching. Could be as soon as right when I graduate, doing both. Could be 10 years from now. So it kind of depends on when a spot opens up that seems fitting for me. And obviously, I'd like to stay at Cornell and coach. So when a spot opens up here, that'd be awesome. But until then, keep training, keep competing in the long term, and then even if I get into coaching, I'll still be competing a little bit.
Can I ask one more cornball question?
Yeah, well, what am I going to tell you? No.
What do you do in your free time? What does Yianni Diakomihalis do to unwind?
Yeah, I mean, I live with 8 other guys on the team, and I'm really close with them. As a team, I feel like we're really close. We spend a lot of time together. So when it's warm, right, we'll go outside. There's a lot of gorges and dams and stuff that we can sit by, get in the water a little bit, which is nice. I like going to, I don't know, I just like spending time with these guys on the team. I'm really close with them, especially as I've gotten older, because you realize like these are my best friends and they're graduating and you're not going to see them as much. So I try to spend as much time with these guys as I can, before we all go off and do whatever we're going to do. So I like spending time with guys on the team. That's, whatever that is, inside, outside, in my backyard by a water, at the Friedman, wherever it is.
So Yanni, just to recap, Worlds, when are they? What's the maybe 6 to 8 week timeline in your training and competition, and so people can see you next and keep following?
So the next big event for me is going to be the World Team Trials, which is May 21st to the 23rd. It's you got to qualify for it, so there's going to be about 10, 12, maybe 15 guys at the most. And at my weight class, the finalists will have a special wrestle off, most likely June 8th, but it hasn't been decided. It's going to be June 3rd or June 8th. That's called the Final X. So let's say it's me and some other guy. We make the finals of the World Team Trials. We don't wrestle. We're going to compete again about 2 weeks after, either in New York City or in Oklahoma City, or in Stillwater, actually. So New York City or Stillwater, and that's going to determine my spot in the world team. If I make the team, I'll be competing overseas in Italy in July, and then the World Championships are, I think, in October.
Wrestling's taken this young man around the world already, and but we wish you the best of luck moving forward. Congratulations. I think I can speak for Steve. We're real proud of the success you've had, and proud that you're from Section 5, and thanks for not big-timing us, buddy. I appreciate that. Some people go on from Rochester, and they don't return my calls. So texted Yanni, got right back to me. Truly appreciated that, young man. And I think I might make my daughter watch this interview someday about work ethic and all that stuff. So it's really cool. You can impact a lot of young people with what you're doing, and I think you kind of already know that. So thanks for being on our show.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for that. And just, I don't know. I learned a lot from a lot of different people, and I feel like there's an obligation to spread that back out.
Good man. For our producer, Joe Brott, for Yianni Diakomihalis and Steve Bradley, my co-host, my name's Jeff DiVeronica. Thanks for watching us for a special interview right here on the Connors and Ferris High School Sports Show.